got the whole world in his hands.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry that it's been so long since we've had a post, a video drop, a podcast, whatever you want to call it. There has been some major technical issues when it came to a computer after our last podcast that we did with the ghostwriter out of Texas. Since then, we have been able to build a new PC, get everything back up and running, and move on from some of the experiences that we've had since that episode. A lot of those have been personal experiences, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. I have had some experiences, and one of those I'm planning on talking about tonight, involving dream walking or astral projection, however you want to look at it. And, I posted a short clip on YouTube and on TikTok of 3 different things that we could talk about, and this was one that everybody wanted to hear first and foremost. So it's not going to be a very long podcast. It won't be as comical or as anything like that, because this is kind of a solo run right here. The guy I usually do my podcast with isn't aware that I'm doing this one, and he's typically pretty busy these days, moving on with his life and bettering himself and his family. So can't complain, can't gripe too much about that, So, the things that I have experienced since my last podcast drop, my computer decided that it was going to fry internally, with absolutely no signs of anything being wrong with it. The spiritual aspect of the instances since then have been pretty traumatic. Had to step away for a while. Couldn't really contain myself. Luckily, we were able to get the funds together to build another computer that's able to handle everything that we ask it to do, and then some. But enough about that. Let's get into astral projecting, dream walking, whatever you want to call it. I had gone to sleep one night, and just like everybody else does, get into bed, you're exhausted. You don't know what the next day holds. You're anxious about it because you're going to work or you have something exciting planned the next day. And for me, it was just a typical day. Nothing out of the ordinary. I was going to have to go to work. Big whoop. But I remember laying down, but I don't ever remember falling asleep. I just kind of just passed out, so to speak. And in this dream state, sorry, it's pretty difficult to talk about because it's still vivid. And this was several months ago. I was in a room in a house. Never been to this house. Never seen this house before. I can tell you where it's located just because I remember everything from going there in my dream. But it was in a room. There was a very large table. It was a big formal dining room in a big house. We're talking 15, 18-foot ceilings, a table that was just massive. I'd say 20 people could sit at this thing. And this room is full of people. They're all wearing these cloak type garbs with hoods, but the hoods were off. They didn't have them on. And they were all just sitting there talking. And for some reason, I'm standing in a corner. And I can't see why I'm there. All I can do is sit and observe these people, and they're all talking. They're gathered around. They're eating food. And the next thing I know, well, I can see them and see them interacting, but I don't think that they can see me, if that makes any sort of sense at all. So I'm kind of just doing my thing in the corner, observing these people. The next thing I know, this man walks over to me and goes, "You shouldn't be here, but since you're here, what can I do for you?" And I looked at him. I was like, "What do you mean? What can you do for me?" He's like, "What do you desire most?" And I was looking at him. I was like, "Okay, first of all, how do you see me and they don't?" He looks at me and he says, "Don't worry about that. What do you desire the most? Is it fame? Is it fortune? I can give you anything you want." Said, "I don't want anything." Because in my head, I knew exactly who that was and what that was. And I said, "I don't want anything." He's like, "Oh, sure you do." He's like, "You can tell me. I can give it to you." It was like, I seriously don't want anything. And I'm trying to wake myself up at this point, pinching my arm, because I'd realized that clearly I'm not at home. So we keep going back and forth, and it seems like it takes forever to go back and forth with this person. Very good looking individual wearing a nice suit. And, if you know me, I don't deal with people in suits. I'm just a redneck from a small town. Keep to myself. I just want to be happy by myself, just me and my family. And he keeps trying to push things like he's going to change my mind. And at this point, I realized that after hearing several stories and stuff from different individuals online and stuff like that, you make this assumption that this is the damn devil. That's the only other thing that comes to my mind is this is the devil. He's trying to get me to sign my soul over. And about that time, he presents me with a contract. He's like, "Anything you want, all you have to do is sign." And I'll be damned if I don't start rebuking this man in the name of Jesus. And I kid you not, it was like I got punched and I started flying backwards, like in those movies, where they blow up and they go flying back in like the Matrix. So I'm flying back and I'm literally watching everything in like a tunnel vision in reverse. I'm being pulled away from this house. I'm being pulled away from the state where it's at. I can tell you what state it was, and I can tell you where it was located at, but I can't tell you the house because I've never seen it. So I fly back and I land in my body and I jolt out of bed. And my wife can corroborate this. I wake up and I am just sweating. I am crying. I'm shaking. It was so real that I couldn't sleep after that. I woke up and I was a nervous wreck. But the thing is, I woke up and I'm looking around the bedroom and all of a sudden my phone goes off. And I didn't set any alarms. It was like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Didn't set any alarms or anything like that. My phone starts playing Jelly Roll. I only talk to God when I need a favor. And that just made it 10 times worse. My skin was crawling. I was like, holy shit, what happened? What in the hell was that? And I tried to explain it to my wife. My wife's like, dude, what are you talking about, So I got in contact with a Native American friend of mine and told him about my experience. And that's when they told me, you were dream walking. You were somewhere you shouldn't have been, but your spirit guides were telling you, you need to fight through this. This is what's happening. And I was so floored. I had no idea. And since then, from past traumas and stuff like that I've experienced as an adult with the line of work that I do, I don't sleep very well to begin with, but tackling this on top of everything else is, man, I stay up until I pass out anymore. I sleep maybe 3 hours a night. And ever since this, I've prayed to God every night before I go to bed just to watch over me and let me sleep. It was a wild, wild experience. But I can tell you, since that happened, the things that I've seen in my day-to-day life, spiritually, metaphysically, whatever you want to call it, have been out of this world. And I would love to get other people on here to talk about their experiences that they've had, whether they see things, they hear things. And I'm not talking about crazy people. I'm talking about people that have encountered spiritual beings, out of this world beings, people that have had out of body experiences or dream walked, stuff like that. I'd love to talk to somebody else about it and get their aspect on it. But with not being able to sleep, that means I've been able to do a lot of research on things. And one of the things in particular that has gotten my attention for several months now, I've been doing research on, is a cryptid called the Dogman, or a werewolf. So that's going to be one of the episodes that I'll be doing. Whether or not I have somebody with me doing it, multiple people with me doing it, I don't know yet. But I can tell you here in the very near future, there is going to be a Dogman podcast. And I think with the research that I've done, it draws out a pretty compelling case for the dog man. And eventually, I am going to, this October, I believe I'm going to go down to the Kiamichi Mountains in Oklahoma, the southern part of Oklahoma, for the Bigfoot Festival and set up a podcast out there and do a podcast at the Bigfoot Festival, because there have been dogman sightings out there as well. So we may be able to knock the dogman and Bigfoot out in the same organizational gathering, if you will. We shall see. Hopefully this gets to somebody and they have an experience that they'd like to share. And you can always email me at fighting